I brought a brewski to this one, so you can tell it's getting serious. It's a little dangerous to do so because a little inside info, I'm shooting 5 of these things, so whatever happens, I might have like 1 beer or 2 beers or 3 beers or 4 beers or 5 beers or 6 beers or 7 beers or 8 beers or 9 beers or 10 beers. Whatever the amount, you'll see the damage in about 5 days. Some films transport you to a place you never thought you could go and help you see the beauty in a place you previously couldn't understand. One of my favorite things to do in life is to travel, and there's about a million reasons to that, but some of them are the intense learning experience, the breaking down of your cultural biases, appreciating your own life in a new way, and allowing that culture to change you. I see film as a miniature travel experience, one that dares your way of life and gives you a new layer of empathy. The area the story takes place in determines the personality of the conflict and gives you a clue into how these characters see the world. That's the case in genre set design or on-location shooting, and so for that reason I'm going to include both of these into this category here. They both fulfill the same purpose whether they are found or created. It all has to do with how the director sees the area, how it impacts the story, or how it contextualizes the culture from which it came from. These are the nominees for set design / location shooting. All We Imagine as Light. This film is in many ways a complicated love letter to the city of Mumbai, and so the depiction of that city is very important for the story. It's a beautiful city, one of the busier cities in the world, but the film took special care to find the quiet side as well. It was able to capture the solitary nature of a city also, like that there were so many people, but because of that it's like nobody has the energy to care about the strangers around them. This film had 2 major locations though, and I thought the beach was even better. Capturing the rural landscape of India is almost like cheating because it's one of the most beautiful geographic locations to ever exist. The area was great for interpreting the existential conflict of the characters, as many beaches often are. Conclave. I mean, who doesn't like the look of old churches? There's a certain level of architectural greatness that can only come from a king torturing poor people for over 10 years in the name of God. There are such open spaces, and the movie took advantage of it to create a more epic and realized conflict. It's both beautiful and cold, which makes sense for a story like this because it recognizes the way these cardinals have to make decisions. Many of them ignore how they feel in favor of strategy for the sake of uplifting the institution in a way they see fit. Dune, Part 2. It's one of those movies where I don't have to tell you what makes the production design so great. I mean, look at it! Its landscape is entirely epic, each of its sets taking great care to feed in the story, all of them having logical and cultural implications. I know I've called a lot of things its own character here, but come on. Like, the desert is clearly its own character here. It lives and breathes its final and all-knowing. It's the entire conflict, and it's shot with that in mind. Evil does not exist. In order to craft a story around the sanctity of a forest, you must first go out and show what makes it so special in the first place. This film took great care to appreciate the scenery, philosophize on what makes it so beautiful, represent the ecosystem, and see what part humans play in it. There's multiple instances where the camera just shows you the forest and nothing else for minutes at a time. It's jaw-droppingly beautiful. Hundreds of Beavers. Hundreds of Beavers is a great example of a cross between real-world locations and actually designed sets. The melding between the two is ridiculously well done. It's like they're able to manipulate the scenery as if it were Play-Doh. It's cartoonish, but deliberate in its own right. It's masterfully well realized, especially for the kind of budget these guys were working with. La Chimera. This is another one of these movies where it's basically cheating. It's the Italian countryside, of course it's going to be beautiful. But even indoors as well, the area does service to the kind of world these people are working with. It's like everyone's already lived, everything's already done, what's there left to do? There's only moving forward with each other. The sets do a great job of providing that clash between the ancient and the modern. The contrast is very exciting. Maria. This one's very similar to Conclave in that I just really like looking at old, rich buildings. I have serious issues with the way wealth is portrayed in Pablo Larraín films, but the way he shoots it, I mean damn, they look cool as hell. It's not just that though, to be fair. Maria's home is ripe with interesting objects, the color is spellbinding, the designs are magnificent. It's something you can tell took a lot of time to put together. Nosferatu. Gothic horror is back, baby. I was nervous about Eggers' last film, because after The Northman bombed harder than any movie could bomb, I wasn't sure if he would ever get real money again. This was a great example of a mid-budget film operated the right way, and the money's all on the screen. The town, the castle, the village, all of these were meticulously crafted and exciting to look at. An enjoyable, well-done production. Queer. Man, this set design just blew me away. One could even say it was fully surrealized. It was a glorious interpretation of Latin America in old-school production, with popping color, iconic imagery, and a glorious attention to detail. I found myself forgetting to listen to the characters talk sometimes because the area around them was just so well designed. Each area was distinct and handled with great care. They knew what they had, too. There's a reason they spent several connective shots just watching Daniel Craig walk down the city. There's nothing more gorgeous than that. The Brutalist. The man is building his life's work. He's portrayed as this genius of design, so this film had to nail that concept. And nail it they did with an awe-inspiring design. But of course the majority of the film is the lead up to it. So in the meantime they leave you with other gorgeous scenery to deal with. It does a lot with seemingly barren textures, simple areas, and empty areas. With these empty areas, just the right placement of a person can feel striking. Wicked. I hated the lighting and the color correction in this film, but I think the worst thing that they did was that they ruined one of the best set designs I've seen in a big budget film in a long time. It was slick and exciting, inventive, had good movement, it worked great with the dance numbers, it was iconic and yet somehow made itself different from the original film. I thought it was really well done. One of my favorite things I've done on this channel is that for the intro footage, I walk around wherever I go and film whatever I see. I just love the way the camera responds to the environment. Like, how does it look here? Does it look good? Does it look bad? How does it look this way? How do I feel about this? Oh, that was terrible, let me try it this way. And so I think the set design isn't just set design itself, but the way it's handled in the film. Of course, better set designs or locations lead to that being a more satisfying task, but at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. The winner of this award had a production that felt like I was consuming visual art at all times. It never dropped the throttle. And that winner is... Queer. I'll reiterate again how fantastical the color was here. Just unbelievable from a production standpoint. It made the world so beautiful and it perfectly placed you into the subjective mind of the character. Special shout out to Hundreds of Beavers. That set design was incredibly inventive as well. I have no choice but to deliver it a silver turtle. But that is going to do it for me. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about right now. Probably pizza because I've been in the mood for it. I don't know if you guys have been like me, but over the last 5 years, I've become less interested in pizza because every time I eat it, I get a stomachache. And that's a problem because I love pizza and it makes me feel like, what's the point of living anymore if my stomach hurts every time I eat pizza? I want to have the freedom to eat whatever I want, but when I do that, then I don't feel as good. And so that's very hard to juggle in your life. You know, you can't have a bad day and then you can't eat pizza. I mean, that's not good, man. That's not good. So I eat pizza anyway, but I feel bad about it. And so that's a shame. Yeah, I'm just going to leave on that dour note there, I think.